This week on Erotic Awakening, BDSM in general, enthusiastic consent, and Dickord.
Welcome to Erotic Awakening, an exploration of all things erotic. If you are offended by adult topics or prohibited by law, we recommend you stop listening
Right now.
We
want to thank our latest patron supporters, Luke
and Aldehyde.
Thank you so much. Your support really keeps us going.
Head over to patreon.com and I did it again. Today.
Get your bonus content.
But I didn't give the whole address.
Patreon.com/Erotic Awakening.
Thank you.
Hi, Dawn.
Hi.
You act like we haven't done this before.
I know. I don't know why it trips me up sometimes. So
today on the podcast, what we have is BDSM in general in what you've heard so far, but what you should see for the title is going to be something a little bit different. We're going to look at the top 5 to 10 posts to Reddit's BDSM community. I'm going to read the question, and you could either A, say, well, that's dumb, let's move on, or B, and say, this is the easy answer to that.
Fabulous. Can I do something first so I can unstick my head?
Absolutely. What happened?
Hi, Dan.
I already said hi, Dawn.
Well, did I
don't
not
know why
say
you
hi,
didn't pick
Dan?
up. No.
Oh, I really like that. It kind of reminds me I'm being that dude on Santa Clarita Diet. When he gets stuck on a topic and I can't get my brain moving.
Yes.
Anyway, so awesome.
You can tell what we've been rewatching instead of trying to watch something new. Do you know, Dawn, real quick, that there is a name for that? I don't know what the name for it is, but there is a name for people that instead of starting new shows, they just keep watching the same show over and over again because they don't want to get invested into a new show and find out that it sucks.
When they can watch an old show and know that it's good, like Firefly, Rookie, Supernatural, Santa Clarita Diet. I know you don't like some of those.
Yeah, you named 2 out of 4. We're good ones there.
Blacklist. I've been rewatching Blacklist.
And we're going to get into an actual BDSM podcast in just a moment. But I want to point out real quick, listeners, in case you didn't notice, Nathan Fillion was on 3 of 4 Dawn's list just then.
I would love to go to a Comic-Con with him. I keep looking, but he's recording Rookie again.
Who is the guy who played Apollo in the original Battlestar Galactica? Richard Hatch?
Richard Hatch, yes.
We saw him at a Comic-Con, and my first thought was, man, he's a lot smaller than I expected.
Well, same with the guy that played Hercules. We saw him from a distance, and he was much smaller than...
Welcome to the Geek Podcast, apparently. All right, so here we go, Dawn. Here's question number 1.
Yes, sir.
Is it okay to have a safe word in findom, financial domination?
Is it okay to have a safe word in findom? I believe in safe words in any relationship. I don't know much about findom, but I'm going to say yes. I think that's where there is someone in charge, the findom, and the other person has like given over their finances. Have they given over their finances, or do they just buy them things?
It looks like if you are a follower, either a findom or a follower of a findom, reach out, get a hold of us, be on the show, tell people about it.
Indeed. So, do you believe in safe words?
Yes, absolutely. They should have a safe word.
It could be about buying a $6 million home and you only have $5.
Oh. This one is pretty interesting. When did we start skipping the get to know you phase? So here's my interpretation of that question. When I go to a BDSM event, and this is an actual event, not a house party although a house party could count, but I'm going to say for an event.
And I'm going to have a slightly different example. I can see that already, but go ahead.
It is not unusual for me to skip the getting to know you phase.
Yep.
It's not important, the getting to know you phase, to most of the people there. They are there for, I can't say for most of the people there, but for most of they want a specific scene. I would like to be flogged by you. I don't care how many dogs you have or what your job is.
Or even what your name is.
Right. Absolutely. I was recently doing a class. Actually, we were doing a presentation on sexual BDSM. As part of the presentation, I was fingering someone while I was doing knife play at the same time. And I looked them in the eye and I said, I don't know your name. And I thought that was kind of funny. But that's the reality of some of these events. We're not interested in the get to know you phase. We are interested in, I want to play with you. I want to do a physical activity with you. Would you like to do a physical activity with me? Now, for myself, I love the getting to know you phase. But to me, that's about relationship building and dating, but it can be part of the creating the energy of the scene. It's just not necessary.
Right. So, and then for me, I have a thing going on right now, which is why I have a slightly different example.
Okay.
So, we are in this little itty bitty town.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to find people, but someone has reached out to me that's in the town,
No
right? A
kidding.
guy. Yeah, he's been reaching out to me with one-liners
Oh my
and
gosh.
three
Okay,
worders
gotcha.
for
I know
about
this
2 weeks
one. Yes.
now. Yes. And I keep trying to give more sentences like, "Hey, what kind of job do you have?" He doesn't have to be specific, but
Yeah.
it's going to be hot out during the day. Does he have an outdoor job, an inside job, things like that? How long have you been in this community? Have you been to an event before? And I'm getting 2 or 3 word answers. He's not
Mm-hmm.
trying to get to know me at all. He's not referring to anything in my profile. And basically, it feels like he is just saying, have dick, will travel.
Sure.
And you just said something, dating. I would rather date and get to know someone than have a quick hookup.
I actually, in this same small town,
Mm-hmm.
have recently posted, hey, I would like, and this is on Fetlife, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is on they're classified for the local town.
Right.
I would like to meet somebody and take them to dinner, right? Because I'm into the whole dating thing just for fun of dating as
Right.
well. I'm not kidding. I actually got one hit on that from a person who disappeared, and a second hit with somebody who I am very interested in, who's in St. Louis. So that didn't go
Right.
too well.
So that didn't go too well locally. And it's like I'm interested in someone in Chicago and they work long hours. I'm 2 hours behind them, so
Mm-hmm.
even trying to get in touch and get to know you, we ended up I convinced them to get on the Marco Polo app. So being 2 hours difference, we can still reach out to each other, see each other's faces, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that comes in a little handy because I want the get to know you
Yeah.
phase, but I'm poly and I like to date. But I have also done the hookup play. What's it called? It's not hookup
Pickup
play,
play.
pickup play. Phew. I'm like, but I have done pickup play. Just watching someone else play, knowing their fet name, not their real name, and we don't have the get to know you
Yes.
phase, right? So when did that happen? I think it's always been like that.
Yeah. They're all the way back to leather bars.
Ah,
Nobody gave a shit who you were.
yeah.
So,
So kink
all right.
world is not
Yeah, you're
like
not
the
in
dating
vanilla
world.
dating world.
Right.
And if you want to be in vanilla dating world, go for it.
Not me.
Here's a really interesting one.
Okay.
I don't know if you can answer it. The question is for the Doms, what's a kinky or sexual activity you like doing that most people label as submissive, but you've turned it into something dominant?
Oh, yeah. See, I can't answer that because I'm not a switch.
And I can't think of anything that most people would say. I mean, I don't like being pegged, but I know Doms that do like being pegged. They've turned it into a dominant act. Yes.
Something popped into my mind that we have talked about on here before.
Mhm.
You being blindfolded. You've turned that
Yes.
into a dominant thing.
Yes.
You do not do that as a submissive thing.
Right.
You've turned it into a dominant thing.
It's kind of an edge play sort of thing for me. But that's all I got on that.
Yeah, but most people would see blindfolded and automatically assume submissive.
Yep. But I don't really have any activities. Let me see what some of the examples that they've used. Blowjobs and cock warming.
What is cock warming?
Oh, apparently it's
But BJs are supposed to be blowjobs are supposed to be a
I see.
submissive act?
But cock warming apparently is while I have his dick in my mouth, and if he moves his hips or his dick twitches, I flick and pinch his balls. I don't know what somebody again. If you know what cock warming is, Dan and Dawn at eroticawakening.com. You can be on the show and tell us what the hell's going on. Apparently, as long as we've been in the community, they're making things happen faster than we can keep up.
Yep, new words that we're not aware of.
There's a couple that are just dating as a kinky person, advice, apps, whatever. Boy, you're going to have to go with this one. I'll tell you what works for me, dating as a kinky person. I've had a little bit of luck with OkCupid, very little, but I don't try hard.
Right. I got through cycles myself.
Where I end up with most of my relationships is because I'm a BDSM presenter. And that way I'm standing in front of 30 people at a time. And that way people get to know me. And
you've got a really good reputation.
I've got a good
presenter.
reputation as a presenter.
Yeah.
And that's how but most of the people that I've ended up, oh, is this, no, you know what? That is mostly true, but not true, not all the way true. Actively being a part of the community, whether you're a
Right.
presenter or whether you're just there to open the doors or putting away chairs, that's actually the key. More so than being a presenter is active part of the community.
Yeah.
Letting people see who you are on a regular basis has been how I have ended up in, and I don't do BDSM dating per se. I end up, if I go on a single adventure with somebody, it ends up being a relationship. I don't
For
know
a
that.
short term or a little while, but that's because you're poly instead of
Yeah, I don't even know I would use the term short term. A
some you
year?
have.
2 years?
You've done some shorter than that.
6, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I have.
Yeah.
But do you have any advice for dating as a kinky person?
No, well, except just keep putting yourself out there. And, that's what I have to do is just keep putting myself out there, show an interest, find how they communicate. If you do find someone that you're interested in, figure out how they communicate. Not everybody does phones, not everybody does email. People have preferences, and make it match your preference and just keep the conversation going. If you really want to date, do a conversation. If you are on Fetlife and if you're a guy and you send someone a message and it just says, "What's up?" more than likely, we're not going to reply.
Yeah.
If it looks like a form letter and I can tell you have not looked at my profile because the first thing you did was ask me my name, but my name is in the first 3 lines of my profile, I'm not going to give the energy to give back to you. Give me some energy.
Yeah.
Show me that you're interested in me, not just a hookup.
Side note, if you are a patron, we have the Kinky Dating Guide out there on our files section for patrons. So feel free to grab that, give that a look, see what kind of benefits you can get out of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Or you can go off there for the polyamory side, go buy the polyamory dating guide, and you could be one in a very exclusive club of one of the 5 people that actually bought that book.
We've got more people than that.
Yeah, maybe.
I think we just wrote it during a pandemic.
All right. One more, Dawn. And this one's
Okay.
particularly, I don't know if it's interesting or not. It's talk worthy. Why do many submissives believe they're domina is their emotional babysitter?
They're domina?
Yes, let me get into it a little deeper. I don't know when someone confused domina with emotional mother. They look for you with phrases like, I want you to control me, I need structure, set limits for me. And in less than 2 days, they are crying over unanswered messages, questioning their self-esteem, and asking for constant validation.
So this could work regardless of gender.
Yes, this happens to be gender specific, but it could go
Right.
either direction. Totally agree with that.
Right. So, and a lot of us, I'm trying to think, I would say that sounds more like the people the person's drawing to them. Right. So, because I can now there's another piece of that in that submissives become vulnerable
Yes.
as well. And once we open up ourselves to vulnerability and we have someone that listens to our vulnerability and our pieces of ourself that we've had hidden for so long, we do want constant contact with them.
Yeah.
They do feed us for a while until we learn how to stand on our own 2 feet. I can remember going through that myself. Totally in charge of my own life in a vanilla marriage for, 12 or 14 years. I didn't need to be validated. And then mine and your relationship changed, and I started sharing all my vulnerabilities and my stories and my memories and my fantasies and all of that. And I was able to totally open myself up, and you ripped open my chest, tore out the gook, right? So there is that vulnerability. And when that happens, I want contact.
Yeah.
I want to feel like I'm still an okay person.
And that's totally reasonable, but that's a reflection of my style of power exchange.
That is true.
I like vulnerability. I like going deep. It sounds like this person doesn't like the vulnerability, doesn't like going deep. Here's my response.
Here's your response. Okay.
You suck at this. That's the
Oh.
problem. The problem is you don't know how to set boundaries. And for your response to be, I'm going to come to Reddit and vent about this, proves to me you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Sorry. That's just my opinion. And by the way, please come on the podcast and have a conversation with me and tell me why I'm wrong. I'm more than happy to hear that. But the reality is you got to set boundaries. If all you want is give me some money and I'll punch you in the dick, and that's our relationship, you got to set those boundaries up front. Or maybe, and I don't suggest you're a fin dom, maybe you're just a BDSM player. But again, if all you want is straight up BDSM play, you got to set those boundaries up front. A lot of people are looking for an emotional connection, regardless of, remember earlier we talked about that getting to know you part. Well, you're not doing that getting to know you part, I guess. So why are people want to think they are getting to know you, that they can be vulnerable with you? So I don't know. And maybe I'm a little harsh, but check yourself. Are you setting clear boundaries? And if you're having problems with their communication, talk to them and say, our relationship, hey, let me just be. It's a wonderful scene from a movie with Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver from, I don't even, it must have been a really long time ago, where they're having an affair and they just get done having sex. And Kevin Kline looks over to Sigourney Weaver and says, "Oh, my boss is really being a jerk this week. I'm having a tough time." And Sigourney Weaver turns and looks at him and says, "I don't care. I'm here for sex. Why are you telling me this?" That's the conversation you need to have with those people. If they're, just get them aligned with what you want from them and what you're willing to provide. But again, don't. I am challenged by the idea. See, now I'm being a little more soft.
Right.
But, maybe I'm a soft dom. Maybe this is what a soft dom is.
No, say it isn't so.
I'm a little challenged by the idea that you think that the appropriate way to handle this is by coming to a public bulletin board and venting about it instead of taking it up with them. Perhaps I am incorrect. I am, after all, I've been around for so long that maybe the world has moved on at this point, and that's the right way people do things now.
Again, say it isn't so.
No, it's not so. Matter of fact, if you really are thinking, man, that Dan is full of shit, and I want to tell him, well, heck, you can do that in a variety of places. For example, you could come out to either Apex or EVEE. They're both in Phoenix, and we're going to be there.
Or Scissor Tail Leather Conference in Tulsa in June.
You could keep up with all of our events, book news, and discounts, and more via the Erotic Awakening newsletter.
And get your EA shout out, like John in New Jersey,
VB in Bermuda,
Anna in Tennessee.
Head over to eroticawakening.com and subscribe today.
So I wanted to bring up our Discord channel. That's another place they could join and tell us what they feel about a few things we've said on the podcast. So we do have a community of people there. We've got podcast listeners, we've got patrons, we've got people that have just found us on Fetlife or things like that. So, and we offer a couple of different rooms on here. There's not a lot of conversation. Sometimes I'll join a server and there's so much conversation I can't keep up and I leave.
Yep.
Because I'll just never keep up. That doesn't happen on ours, but there is some good conversation.
We are not the sit in front of our computers for 8 hours on Discord chatting with people type people.
We're
and some
out
servers
doing things.
I was going to be more
politically correct.
I don't like politically correct. I don't
anymore.
Yes, more soft. That's going to be my new term. I was going to be more of a soft dom about that.
Okay.
But certainly the leadership roundtable, sacred sexuality, pictures of your cats. Of course, we have our fur babies, as well as any other random pics. And people, the best memes on our Discord channel, by the way. Sometimes
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Sometimes I will see our memes on other people's Discord channels after they've been posted here, which I think is pretty cool. As well as you can find out about some of the events that we're not doing, just community events and community resources that are happening as well.
We have a Healthy Kinksters channel for those of us that like to post about that and hypno kink and, just things. We like the conversation.
And I want to remind our patrons that there is a channel called As You Wish, where once you post there, I would love to see a show about X. We do a show about X.
And that's where our not safe for work pictures are, is under the patron channel, right?
Of course.
Of course.
Other than that, Dawn.
No, there is something else. Okay, good. I thought you would get ready to wrap things up because dinner is smelling good.
It is. I want to talk a little bit about this idea. You've often said we're big fans of consent. And there's a term called enthusiastic consent. People think it's very important to have enthusiastic consent. We certainly don't disagree with the idea of enthusiastic consent.
True.
But you've said sometimes that your consent isn't necessarily enthusiastic, especially you're doing something like a fear play scene.
Right. Who wants to be like, ooh, pom-poms, which is what I think of with enthusiastic consent. And usually people's faces light up when they're like, oh, enthusiastic consent. And their voices get a little lighter and it feels like they're up on their tiptoes and they need pom-poms. I love the idea of enthusiastic consent. But some of the shit that I do, I'm not enthusiastic about. I do not have pom-poms about, but I still want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm either doing it because it's fear play. I'm doing it, knife play, fire play, all those things.
I think you're pretty enthusiastic about knife play.
I am, but yeah, my eyes do light up a little bit with that, huh? So, but there's some things that they just don't, but I still want to do them, or it's a challenge, or it's an ordeal, or it's something like that. And you're not going to get a pom-pom response. If it's an ordeal ritual or something like that, it's going to be a, oh, fuck sort of response.
And that's where you came across this quote.
Yes. So I was at Kinky College a couple of weeks ago, and I was in one of the classes. I decided to follow Sandow's logic, which is, even though we've been doing this for decades at this point, always attend classes when you go to events because there's always a nugget. Whether you agree with some of the stuff because it or not, because it does or doesn't match your experience or whatever, there's always a nugget. And the nugget, I got nothing else out of this class. Wait, go back to the nugget. The nugget is, if you can't feel enthusiastic, at least make sure it's the right kind of dread.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, the right kind of dread. I like that because I do dread some of my scenes, but it's the right kind of dread. I haven't been pushed into it. I haven't been talked into it. I'm not fearful of the person themselves, things like that. So, but the actual experience, I'm dreading, but know I'll come out better on the other side. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Great way to phrase that, and also to recognize that enthusiastic consent can look different for different people.
Right. Right. So, all right. So, tentacles?
Yes, I see Peachy is back on with the tentacles.
We just saw food walk by.
I know.
Like, do you want food on boobs? Because we could do that right now. Anyway, so Peachy is back. I actually reached out to Peachy. Hi, Peachy. She has been a supporter for a very long time. We got to meet her a couple of years ago after a couple of years of teasing her that we were going to be on the West Coast. And she sent me through Instagram, which I forget to check sometimes. It was a tentacle tattoo of tentacles. It's a black and white tattoo, but it's tentacles wrapped around a chubby girl. I'll have to show it to you. It is absolutely
I haven't seen
beautiful. Yeah, I just saw it earlier today. And then Staten sent a link through our Dickord channel. He sent a link to some cartoon porn,
which was super hot.
Yeah, I went to the link and
led me into recognize that there is a subreddit called cartoon porn. So that cost me a couple hours.
I bet it did. I love cartoon porn.
No, Marge Simpson.
Johnny Jackhammer sent me that, what is it, Beauty and the Beast comic book a few years ago. Oh my God, love. Oh yeah, Marge Simpson's rocking it. I don't need to see that.
Uncomfortable there.
That one.
I don't know.
But there's some good ones.
Oh, Wednesday.
A grown-up Wednesday, thank you. So, yay.
Yeah.
You could lose us right now as we're scrolling through cartoon porn.
Be a part of the Erotic Awakening Podcast community.
You can support us on Patreon and get early access to the ad-free version of the podcast, a free version of the audiobook, Polyamory Toolkit, free ebooks, discounts on monthly Zoom classes, member-only Dickord access, and more.
Find all those goodies at patreon.com/Erotic Awakening today.
Help others find us. Take a moment to support the podcast.
Rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Or just tell your friends.
Join the conversation with us and other listeners.
Use the links from the Erotic Awakening website for our growing Dickord channel.
And feel free to reach out to us. We love hearing from you.
Contact us with questions, podcast comments, or just to say hi.
We are Dan and Dawn on Fetlife.
And Erotic Awakening on Instagram.
Or just email us at dananddawn@eroticawakening.com.
Bye, Dan.
Bye, Dawn.